All right, we're back. I know I recorded on my own, but now I finally have Funk here, which is fun. Week one was a disaster. I don't even think I can say much else besides that, unless you have anything else. The main thing was Burrow played the worst football game of his career. We didn't take into account that the weather was crappy, but it's only week one, who cares? Tua was the nuts. That's about it.
Yeah, I mean, the first like four or five touchdowns were all from chalk, which really hurt. I was just like, oh my God, we are so doomed because Ridley got in the end zone. He was like almost 30% in a lot of the tournaments. Um, Bijan scored. And I was like, okay, now this is getting out of hand. And after that, Burrow had the worst game of his career, which obviously, when your quarterback stinks it up, you're pretty much left for dead. We'll probably go back to him this week, at least in consideration, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Um, let's just look at some top stacks really quick. I don't know what is up with the data. There's got to be something wrong here. Baltimore, the Jets, Vegas, Buffalo, Seattle, Green Bay, Indy, Dallas, Rams, Houston, Chargers. This is everyone.
Can
I
you
can't even like,
can you sort by the top stack percentage?
that's probably why. Giants, holy crap. Baltimore, San Fran, Green Bay, Buffalo, Indy, Jets. I don't even know. I think I had mine by the rating. That's what it automatically does. But take this data, fade the data. I mean, what's standing out to you right now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna full stack any Giants here, popping at the top stack. I mean, the Cardinals defense is not good. They showed up last week against Howell, rookie quarterback, whatever, turn him over a couple times. And I like Barkley. I like his price tag. He's probably due for a good bounce back. Hopefully, the game script is in his favor. But I don't think I'm going to stack the Giants here. My top five stacks I had written down. Typically, for my single entry, I like to pick quarterback that's at home and favored in a somewhat high total game. So I got the Bengals, Bills, Chiefs, Lions, and I threw in the Texans just because they're so damn cheap. But obviously, that total is not all that enticing, hovering around 40. But Stroud, Collins, Tank Dell might get some run at 4,800 is pretty cheap, and they can run that Pittman. But what stacks look good for you?
It's a little, I guess, all over the place. Baltimore, and I get it, it's only week two coming up. Baltimore didn't really show me enough against a terrible Houston team. Justice Hill scored two touchdowns. You know what I mean? If Lamar threw a couple, I don't know, that would have been different. Baltimore is kind of up there. Truth be told, since he doesn't look too bad, Vegas looks good. The Chargers, in my opinion, look pretty decent. The one thing that's a little annoying is Eckler is questionable, but I did see yesterday that they signed the guy off the practice squad, so it looks like Joshua Kelly is going to be 100% owned. I still think the Chargers against a terrible Tennessee secondary can do some damage even without Eckler. I mean, with Eckler, they probably win by 50, but I still think they can do something. Buffalo against Vegas on the other side looks interesting. To me, this is kind of a bounce back game for them, just losing to the Jets. Seattle looks a little interesting. I'm not super big on them, but against Detroit, I mean, I know I'm so used to having Detroit be like a terrible football team, but they're really not that bad anymore. But 4% top stack percentage, um, 6,700 average salary. That looks pretty interesting. Couple others that I wrote down were Indianapolis, San Francisco and Denver stacks. They're going to be pretty cheap regardless. Wait, hold on. Why can't I find? Oh, Indy's up here. Indy against Houston. I mean, pretty self-explanatory. Houston, kind of like you sit on the other side. I wouldn't mind that much. San Francisco, they're the Niners. They're gonna go pretty deep this year anyway. That's about it. Nothing too crazy. I Part of me wants to say the Bears, but after that week one showing, I don't think I can say that.
I do like DJ Moore's price tag. He's like low sixes from what I remember, like maybe 6,100. I liked him, and then I like Rashad White on the other side of that game because the Bears run D is pretty suspect.
I was gonna say, did you watch the game at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not playing any Bear unless I can see our offensive coordinator actually call NFL level plays, then we'll consider it.
Are they going to bench Claypool? You see his effort out there.
They're not. I already saw something that he's getting the first team snaps, and I guess he had a meeting with a couple guys.
He'll probably get
I
back
had
to being okay. It's just week one, he looked like he wasn't really trying.
and I had him. I had like all the hype in the world for him. Like, oh, he's gonna be good. He might not be insane, but he's gonna be like a good second, third option. And I don't know, piece of shit. Um, let's go. What do you want to do? What position you want to start with, or do you want to do game by game?
Let's go. Let's go position by position on pricing, and we can just say who we like and we don't like.
All right, let me pull up quarterback projections. This wants to load. Oh, you know what? Let me fix this. All right, so right now, main slate by fantasy points, Allen, Mahomes, Burrow. I don't know why McCaffrey's here. Lamar, Lawrence, Herbert, Fields, great. Jones. Who do you like and who do you not like? Let's just start with that.
Hard not to like Allen here, especially after the way he played last game. I feel like he's probably due for, you know, 3 tuds, 300 yards, and maybe 40 yards on the ground. Leaves it a pretty solid outing. Mahomes, highest total game on the slate. Absolutely. Don't love that he's on the road and Kelsey's questionable still. Kelsey's out, probably a bit of a downgrade from Mahomes. Herbert, like you said, secondary is pretty suspect. Again, on the road, not my favorite spot, lower total. Fields always has that tournament upside for our single entry, probably fading Fields at this price tag. If he was a little cheaper, more in consideration, but with his rushing upside, obviously he's in play. Lawrence, I like. Burrow probably projects the best for me. It's 7,400. He's just priced around guys that are not, Burrow's level when he's actually on his game. Goff, pretty good pairing with Amon-Ra or Laporte. Then you can run back some decent Seattle pieces. And then all the way down, if you go to Stroud at 6,400, you can basically play like anyone on the whole slate if you pair him with one of Collins or, whoever the Texans want to throw out there. That's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, I kind of wrote down obviously the top five guys: Allen, Mahomes, Burrow, Jackson, Lawrence. Couple honorable mention guys. We're pretty much in agreement. I mean, Herbert facing Tennessee secondary, not that great. I think this is a great spot for him. Fields against Tampa. I know Tampa's defense isn't that great, but I'm just gonna say that's Justin Fields. He's just gonna run the ball. Um, Truth be told, I don't think it's that terrible of a spot for him, but kind of like I was saying to you earlier, unless I actually see some good play calling, I don't want to play him. Daniel Jones is a little interesting just against Arizona. He's 7,500, but then again, Joe Burrow is 7,400. I wrote down Richardson as well. Richardson is 7,500. Why is he 75, dude? I don't mind that matchup just because it's Houston. Brock Purdy, huh?
It's got to be for his rushing upside. That's why they priced him.
Probably. Someone else I like is Big Cock Brock Purdy. Jesus. Rams. They shocked me that they won and they kind of beat the crap out of the Seahawks. But when you're playing against San Francisco, it's probably not going to be that good for you. Jared Goff looks a little interesting. I would really focus on, truth be told, I would focus on Burrow the most. He's 7,400. Like Richardson 75, Brock Purdy 71. Fields is 8K because of the rushing upside. And, if he actually gets some good play calls instead of running some screen passes, he'll be okay. But no, truth be told, I think Burrow is like one of my favorite plays.
Agreed.
Didn't you say something too that they just own, like, since he just owns Baltimore as of the last like couple of years or so?
Not necessarily from a winning standpoint, but the Burrow to Chase matchup has been pretty fantastic. I was looking back. So Jamar's 4 matchups against the Ravens in his career so far. He's averaging 7 receptions, 11 targets, 115 yards, and half a TUD per matchup. So I think Jamar looks pretty good here, especially since he just put up an absolute stink bomb last week. Um, that's why I like them, and I also like the Bills. I just expect bounce backs for actually good teams.
It's kind of crazy to think Cincinnati, Kansas City, and Buffalo all lost week one. It's all right. My team lost too, and I think everyone expected it.
Bears were favored.
Don't even fucking remind me, dude. Jordan Love's a piece of shit. Let's go wide receiver. Let me share the screen. So it's got Diggs, Chase, St. Brown, Lamb, Adams, who is questionable actually, which is interesting. Samuel, Godwin, Ridley, Higgins, Allen, Hopkins. I'm not gonna keep reading the list, but here's everyone. What's standing out right now? Who are your favorite guys?
Yeah, I mean those top two really stand out based on the quarterbacks I like. Um, Even Amon Ra with Goff looks pretty good at 3, but I mean it's hard to fit multiple of these guys. I feel like I usually pay up for running back, but with the injury situations this week, I might find myself in like the mid 6, 7K range at running back, and then paying up for receiver, punting tight end, getting the salary that way. Keenan Allen looks decent. Fanduel's half PPR, so it's not like the best site for him at 7,800. But like we said, pretty good matchup secondary wise. Metcalf is a good run back against line stacks. Don't think I'm going to prioritize Lamb here. Adams looks good. Ayuk at 7,500. I think I'm just going to pass based on him having the game of his life last week. I mean, that one catch against Peterson was disgusting. It's like a dot dropped into the basket, but I think I'm good on him. Same with Garrett Wilson. Probably gets majority of the target share, but again, just not a great matchup. Pittman, sure, run back if you play some Houston stacks, even a good one off at 7,200. Evans, decent tournament play, probably not my favorite. T. Higgins had like over 100 air yards thrown to him, 8 targets, 0 receptions. That's just crazy. So if you want to double stack Burrow, absolutely. I don't know if we're going to be double stacking. Double stacking hasn't gone all the way to the top recently, from what I've seen. Um, Judy and Sutton are priced the same, which is interesting to see. think I'd rather play Judy. Say Flowers looked good. If Andrew's out again, I can see him getting like 8 or 9 targets. Lockett, no thanks. Gabe Davis, no thanks. Mm, Collins, 6,200. I think it's a decent spot for him. Like I said, DJ Moore at 6,100. He's a boomer bust turning play as it is. So at 6K, it's not a bad flyer. Josh Reynolds, if you want to double stack off. Not much else I see down here. Tutu Atwell is kind of interesting. I saw Puka got added to the injury report yesterday. If he's out, it's pretty much just Higby and Tutu. So, I mean, you know where the targets are going to go. Other than that, that's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah, clearly Diggs and Chase are the top two guys. St. Brown looks good. I wrote down Godwin and Evans as well. The Bears defense, I guarantee you within 3 or 5 years, we're going to be the best defense in NFL history again, like we were in like 85 or whatever. But it's interesting because, I mean, Baker Mayfield is their quarterback. Um, I mean, they beat the Vikings last week. They looked pretty good. So Evans or Godwin, I wouldn't necessarily go with both, but either one of those guys are good. Um, Ridley, Higgins, Allen. I even like Mike Williams a little bit. I can. Part of me thinks that this game can be a blowout, as kind of nuts as that sounds, unless they bench the Tennessee benches Ryan Tannehill, who's like not good, but um, I don't know why Hopkins is getting much love. Debo Samuel, I wrote down, which looks a little interesting. You can also go with Ayuk, who went crazy last week, and he's still only. Oh, I lied. He got bumped up.
That's why I didn't like him. It's just he's almost $500, $600 more than Devo. I'd rather just play Devo.
Right. Um, Zay Jones and Zay Flowers look decent. If Puka ends up being out, Tutu Adwell and Higby, kind of like you said, they'll be good. I would just focus on a stack that you like and then just go from there because kind of like you said too with running back, there's some injuries, we can get some cheap guys. Jamar and T both look really good. I will not lie. How about instead of T Higgins, we go with Tyler Boyd?
It's not a bad idea.
T Higgins, future bear. I truthfully, I don't mind either DK or Lockett as much. As long as Gino doesn't have the game that he had last week, I think they're good plays. I don't want any Vegas guys against Buffalo that much. Like, if we're running one lineup like we normally do, no, I don't want them. But if you're running multiple lineups, there's nothing wrong with sprinkling a little bit of Vegas. That's basically it. I just wrote down the top five guys. They all look pretty decent, but I kind of agree with you with Lamb. I don't want to get to too much of him, just because the Jets' defense is actually pretty decent. Let's just go to. Sorry, were you about to say something?
I was just going to say, let's run through running back real quick. Not much to tight end, honestly. Lots of question marks there. Usually just pick a flyer anyways. Had to mention anyone. Troutman looks pretty good with no Dolchich.
I was just gonna say focus on that. Figure out or Higby. Figure out if Kelsey's playing. A lot of those guys are questionable. So just pick up whoever. Running backs. All right, Christian McCaffrey, Pollard, Barkley, Montgomery, Etienne, Eckler is still questionable, but whatever. Jacobs, Mixon, Henry, Cook, Connor White, Algier, Bijan. What's standing out?
Yeah, I mean, McCaffrey is a good play. I think he'll be pretty high owned. I haven't quite dug into ownership yet. I would assume over 20%. I don't know if I can pay 9,500 for him. And you basically need like close to 30 for tournament value, which you can have here, obviously. I just don't know if I'm going to prioritize that. I like Barkley. Don't love Henry here. Not really intrigued with ETN. Bijan Robinson is like okay at his price tag. He got bumped a bit to 8,100. Pollard's good if you're pairing him with the Cowboys D. I kind of like doing that. Jacobs sprinkle here and there. Mixon, same thing. Algier at 7,100 for, I mean, he'll probably get his 13, 14 touches. Just don't know if I can pay that price tag for him. You're basically banking on him to fall in the end zone. AJ Dillon at 7K looks good if Jones is out. Not going to play Brees Hall at 6,900 or Cook. Um, Walker looks good if you're playing a line stack. Run back Walker. Cook probably is one of my favorite plays in the slate. James Cook. Um, if I'm not playing Allen, I definitely want a Buffalo piece. So if I'm playing like Burrow Jamar, I'd rather play Cook than pay up all the way for Diggs at receiver again. Other than that, I did notice that Jahmyr Gibbs' price is 5,800. He didn't have that much of a role last week, but I can see that expanding throughout the year, and he's priced pretty high in DraftKings compared to FanDuel.
I speaking on that, I did see underdogs say that week by week they're going to increase his usage. I don't know what that means for Montgomery, but I still like Montgomery this week, I won't lie. But I mean, truth be told, I think every week you can play one or the other and be fine. I think Montgomery has a bigger upside just for the time being, but week six, what's going to happen? That's kind of the thing.
Oh, let me cut you off real quick. The other guy I forgot to mention was Kelly. Obviously, Beckler's out. Fine played 6,300. And Cam Akers got 22 carries last week, 29 yards. Even worse matchup this week. Don't think I'm going to die in that sword, but he's in play.
And I have a decent amount of Cam Akers in best ball. Best ball's so stupid. I don't know why I dropped money into that thing. I'm a rookie. McCaffrey looks good. He's going to be chalk almost like always. Tony Pollard, I like, but it's the Jets, so I don't know unless he just breaks off randomly. Saquon is Saquon playing Arizona. I'm hoping that he can just go crazy, and plus I have him in a couple of fantasy football leagues, so that would be nice. Montgomery, for the time being, kind of like I was just saying, he's going to get majority of the touches. I feel like they're going to throw Gibbs in on like a third and shorts, and they can pitch it out to him. Have Goff just toss it to him. Etienne against Kansas City, I don't really like that much, but I can see him doing some damage. Um, Jacobs, I truthfully don't mind against Buffalo that much. I'm always going to play this stupid narrative that he's playing. I mean, he's playing for a contract. He signed like a 1 year thing. I think that, he's going to have to sort of prove himself. Mixon against Baltimore looks good. What's Mixon's price tag? 7,200. Wait, yep, 7,200. Um, Rashad White looks really good. Bear, kind of like what I was just saying about wide receivers. Bears defense is not great. Even their rush defense is terrible. So, I mean, we're going to make Rashad White look like freaking prime Adrian Peterson out there. Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. You can almost play him whenever you want. Kind of like you were saying, look into Joshua Kelly. Who else did I write down? Kenneth Walker, I like. Keep an eye on obviously Eckler's injury situation and Aaron Jones. Because if Aaron Jones doesn't play, AJ Dillon's gonna play. That's pretty much it for that. Brees Hall, I sort of like. I mean, I get it, he's 6,900, but nothing to really prioritize. You can pay up a little bit more for better guys. That's about it, though, right? Are we missing anything else?
No, I mean, if you want to touch on defense a bit, I was just going to say Cowboys at 4,500, just they should be 5K against Zach Wilson. I don't expect them to drop 40 again, but maybe 4 or 5 sacks a pick, maybe like 12 fantasy points. They will be chalky, which usually I fade. If I had to go somewhere else, I like the Broncos D. Uh, I mean, defense is so high variance, anyways. Typically, just fade the chalk and hope for the best, but I don't mind the Cowboy spot here at their ownership.
I didn't even look into. Usually with defense, I'm kind of just like I worry about the guys that I want, and then I'm like, okay, what defense fits? Unless it's like Jets defense against like I don't know, like an actual good offense. But the one thing I will say for tight end, Higby, Ingram, Everett, or Laporta. Those guys are pretty cheap. Wide receiver core for the Rams looks a little meh. Everett's got some touches last week. Same with Laporta. You can definitely get a little different there. I don't think a lot of people are looking into at least Everett and Laporta that much, but I think that's about it, right?
Yeah,
It's been a while. I kind of forgot how to do this.
yeah. We'll get better at
Um,
this.
yeah. Um, any final words before we sign off?
Just make sure to join our Discord. We'll probably post a lineup or two in there if you feel like tailing and not building. Uh, Make sure to check out Awesomo's data in our description and like and subscribe if you haven't already.